Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Take a look at the center two names, both from the same clan, and they were hit back to back in Legend League. I've never had this happen before. And we had just got done playing these guys in war a month and a half ago. So I knew that this was Itsu's clan, the clan that Itsu, one of the best commentators in the game, one of the best minds of Clash. So I definitely did not want to fail on these guys. So here's the first one that I hit. 3 spell swag. I went heavy on the rage in the beginning to make sure I didn't fail. Here's the second one. This is what, 6 spell space swag. So yeah, it was kind of fun hitting those guys back to back. Here is an invisibility island base that once you see it, you should know that you can automatically, if you play it right, get 11 spell space swagged. Here is another invis island base, and these seem to be rather popular in like mid to high legends, which is kind of funny because you can actually swag more spells if you're resetting at like 5650 in Legend League than you could if you were low Legend League, because a lot of these bases are desperately trying to defend drags and root riders. Alright, so we're going to start in with the end zone attacks. And Lazy is running one of the hardest to tell where anything is sceneries, the cyber scenery. So as always with this attack strategy, you want to take a look and see where the fire spitters are facing. So I'm going to send in 2 rocket loons to come in and hopefully eliminate this fire spitter, or at least get close to eliminating it with the flame flinger. And opposite of the flame flinger, we're going to come behind this remaining fire spitter with the warden. And this is nice, and oftentimes I like to do this where I place the warden on one side and then the flame flinger on the opposite side. So then they pinch the 2 opposing corners together, so that when you do the AQ charge portion and you meet up the BK with the AQ and the warden, when they push into the base, that other corner opposite of where you start your warden will be eliminated, so you can directly push through the base. So for this base example, Flame Flinger up top at 12, Warden down to 6, going to try to land the Fireball on this multi-Inferno Tower next to the Clan Castle to eliminate the Clan Castle and the Monolith. And the Flame Flingers up top at 12, eliminating some of these defenses, have a minion over at the right clearing some trash, because I want the AQ and the BK to push in from 3, or at about 430 actually, and then go all the way to 9. So Warden happens to drift a little bit too far to the left, and I was being conservative with invisibility spells, trying to swag them, so not using one on the multi-crusher, or the mortar crusher, is actually going to cost me more spells in the end, because the monolith is still up, that multi-inferno is still up, but specifically the monolith is still up. If that was down, you'll see in a second I have to use a rage spell and an invisibility spell to keep my queen safe from the monolith. So now we use the AQ to pull the warden towards where we want the AQ to go. We want the AQ to go right in towards this town hall. We meet up the BK with the AQ because we need the BK to get out in front and help tank for the AQ, and also to use his EQ boots to open up access into the core. So BK's out in front. He tanked that ricochet cannon for a little while, and we're going to let the BK work up to about this builder hut and then try to pop his ability. He was forced to ability early by this multi-gear tower, sending in an ice golem at top right to stall up this ricochet cannon, sending in the RC in behind to eliminate this ricochet cannon while it is frozen, along with some headhunters to eliminate the minion prince. And you can see the AQ had to go to ability and had to use a rage and an invisibility spell to overcome the monolith in the core. Had I invested just one more invisibility spell, that would have been 2 spell space saved. So now we're just pushing through the base. Still got some ice golems left, or 1 ice golem left. Finishing off everything. RC2 ability, 3 spells left over. So yeah, that's the nice thing about this strat, is that it requires a decent amount of focus. So if you really want to get into the game, you can just do this strat and you are invested. Alright, so attack 2. So again, we are going to check where the fire spitters are. Both of them are in the center, and they're also by the clan castle. So I'm going to try to get the warden fireball into this fire spitter, or this expo close to the fire spitter in the core, either or. Notice Flame Flinger. Flame Flinger is up at 12, and the Flame Flinger is there to eliminate the multi-archer tower and the ricochet cannon, and importantly to make a funnel so that when I send my AQ to pull the warden back out of the base, because I want my AQ to go in towards the town hall, that the AQ, BK, and warden will have nowhere else to go other than in towards the town hall compartment, and then the BK EQ boots to open up the entire core. So a little bit of planning in advance. So just got the warden over here, used one rage on the warden just to help speed him up, because this is going to be a deep fireball, and we want as many defenses between where the fireball is going to go and the warden eliminated as possible. So you notice the Angry Jelly. This is one of the worst things about the Angry Jelly. After the 35 seconds wears off, the Angry Jelly's range decreases, so it actually has to move forward closer to the defenses that it's targeting, and often it can pull the enemy clan castle troops, as it did in this situation. So managed to hit the intended target of the fire spitter, remove what's left of the clan castle, and got a multi-inferno and a scatter shot. However, watching this back, I should have overlapped the EQs. I would have only needed one EQ for that fire spitter and the multi-inferno, and then I could have used the second EQ again over the town hall, but this time being placed over the remaining fire spitter. So I could have got both fire spitters with that fireball. And notice just how much damage this remaining fire spitter is doing to the healers. That is something you always want to be careful about, because luckily these healers are off to the side of the warden, but if they were directly behind the warden, these healers would all be gone right now. So now just working in, we have the AQ benefiting from the warden rage gem. Fire spitters are now targeting the healers. Healers are about to go down. BK's stepping in. Want the BK to get as far in as possible before we use his EQ boots. Hopefully he steps up to this poison spell tower. Steps up. Now we open up all these walls. Gives AQ access to the remaining core of the base, sending the RC on the outside to keep the AQ on the inside. That is a very hallmark thing to do with this attack strategy, is you like to have your AQ with healers under Warden Rage Gem in the core so that she can tank the core defenses, and then the RC goes to the side of your AQ on the flank, and they work together in tandem doing an AQ charge with a parallel spirit walk so they can synergize to the best of their ability. And AQ, giant, like a second BK, that giant is nice to tank for your AQ and your RC. So you always want your AQ and your RC working together. Alright, so when you see this space, you should be happy, because this space you can swag 11 spell space. And you do this by perfect synergy with the Flame Flinger and your Warden. So notice two mortars up here at the top left. We need to eliminate them. Now Flame Flinger comes in. The Flame Flinger is going to target the Tesla. Then the Flame Flinger is going to target this Wizard Tower or the Ricochet Cannon. And we want the Ricochet Cannon gone. Notice those two rocket loons in for the air defense. That is to keep the Warden from pathing towards the Ricochet Cannon, because we do not want the Warden over next to the Flame Flinger, where we would have to make a defense that the Flame Flinger is targeting invisible to launch the Warden Fireball, because we're using the Flame Flinger to the left of the Warden to clear all those defenses, so we do not have to invest an invisibility spell to the left of our Warden to hit our target, which is the scatter shot in the core of the base with the Fireball. So we're waiting for the Angry Jelly ability to wear off, and we're waiting for that Ricochet Cannon to go down. That's why I sent in some rocket loons to speed that up. Then just one invisibility spell at the bottom corner, able to hit the Fireball into the core, and now going to pull the Warden out of the base with the AQ, use the Rage Gem to power the AQ, sending in an Ice Golem in front to help tank and freeze up some of these defenses, and then sending in the BK to help open up some of these wall sections. And it would be nice if the BK stepped up towards this multi-inferno so that he could open up access to the core of the base for the AQ. So BK ability, EQ boots, spiky ball, eliminates some of these Teslas and trash buildings, and also helps create a funnel to help push our AQ back in towards the center of the base, towards where the town hall is, sending in the RC at the 3 o'clock compartment so that the RC can help push the AQ into the core again. So RC steps up. We had an Ice Golem. Notice this Ice Golem at the top right. Cannot get this Ice Golem in any farther because it's stuck on the mortar. It's nice to be able to get your Ice Golems to work as deep into the core as possible. So now RC ability is gone, sending in a remaining Ice Golem at this Ricochet Cannon, and Ricochet Cannons are very dangerous to this attack strategy because they will hit your RC, skip, and kill your Fox. Perfectly timed Ice Golem. Ricochet Cannon is stalled up. AQ finishes off this Town Hall, and we're going to swag 11 spell space. So we only needed to use 3 spells on this base, and whenever you see this base, you can do that pretty much every time, but if you want to be safe, go ahead and invest 1 rage spell for your Warden when he's doing the initial funneling and eliminating defenses to get the fireball into the core. So here we have another desperation base to try to stop Root Riders and Drags, and this means we're going to try to hit our fireball right next to the clan castle compartment, kill the clan castle, get 2 of these ricochet cannons down. Both spell towers, kind of crazy, both spell towers are located right next to each other. And yeah, this is just going to be pretty much, you see this base, you know you're going to 3-star this already. So using the rocket loons, which this is why the rocket loons are in the comp, to help create some openings for your flame flinger, also to help your warden, so that when you're trying to eliminate defenses to get your fireball to your chosen location, you can use some rocket loons instead of spells. So Warden is working on this multi-arch tower. Want to eliminate this wizard tower, so the Warden goes to the right, and notice that that wizard tower was all by itself. There was no other air targeting defenses within range of where the rocket loon went, so it only takes 1 rocket loon to kill a wizard tower that's all by itself. Otherwise it takes 3, or a Yeti with a wizard. So I have to make the Warden invisible. Too much damage. Expo, multi-arch tower, and enemy RC. Angry Jelly's going to wear off here in a second. Rage to keep the Warden healthy. 2 invis down. Hit the target. Eliminate 2 ricochet cannons. Clan Castle. Just have an Expo and a multi-inferno at the backside, but that is nothing to worry about. So sending in an Ice Golem to help freeze up this Scattershot. Got the AQ to pull the Warden back to safety. Now the AQ, which has more hit points than the Warden by almost double, is out in front of the Warden. AQ can take a lot more damage than the Warden can. Got the BK in, and what's dangerous to him right now is this Minion Prince. And also we have this Monolith. So RC comes in at the top right, again to cut off the pathing, to force the AQ into the core. We want the AQ inside the core, distracting core defenses, so that we can send the RC on the outside edge, sprinkle in some Ice Golems, and finish off those with RC. And the best thing about this is the synergy, because the AQ will distract defenses for the RC, and if the AQ becomes out of range, then the RC will distract the defenses for the AQ, and you want to keep your Spirit Fox alive, because then they can do this juggling act of distracting defenses together. So 1 Ice Golem saved, base is wrecked, RC hasn't even used ability yet, gonna go ahead and use ability, even though she's within range of the multi-gear tower, and that is something that you want to pay attention to when you're wrapping the RC around the outside edge. You want to predict where you're going to use the RC Rocket Spear ability to outrange some critical defenses, namely the Ricochet Cannon, multi-archer tower, Inferno towers, scatter shots. So alright, we have the exact same base, or pretty close to the exact same base, same setup. We're going to use the Flame Flinger to eliminate the defenses below the Warden, so we only have to use 1 invisibility spell towards the top. And notice, there's a lot of damage coming in at the Warden this time, so have to use a Rage. So we're down 2 spell space, so this is only going to be a 9 spell space swag. Using the Rocket Loons again to help speed up the Flame Flinger to get through that Ricochet Cannon as fast as possible, because we need that Ricochet Cannon down before we launch our Fireball. This way we only have to use 1 invisibility spell. So Warden is now stuck on the trash buildings on the outside, don't have to worry about him pushing into the inside, and that is something that you always want to do. You want to leave these trash buildings up. No need to put down archers, no need to put down wizards, maybe 1 just on the opposing side of where you want the Warden not to go. And this way, when the Angry Jelly effect wears off, when the Warden quits targeting only defenses, he will be preoccupied with the trash buildings you left standing on the outside edge. He will not push into the core of the base, and he will not get overwhelmed and killed by a bunch of defenses. So this is problematic right here. BK is walking on the outside edge. You do not want the BK to walk, because you want the BK out in front of the AQ to help tank, and most importantly to use his EQ boots to give the AQ access to the core, so the AQ can distract those core defenses for your RC on the outside edge. It's also nice with the BK having the Phoenix pet, because when he dies, the Phoenix comes up and it will test air traps for your healers. So notice we have the RC wrapping on the outside edge, using her ability, trying to outrange this Ricochet Cannon. Ricochet Cannon is distracted on the Warden. Warden manages to stay alive. Town Hall kills him right after I say that. And we have the BK wrapping around the outside, sprinkling in these ice golems to stall up some of these critical defenses, namely the Ricochet Cannon. As I said before, the Ricochet Cannon will hit your RC, then skip to your Fox, kill your Fox immediately, and it's really nice to have your Fox alive. It will also hit your AQ, skip to your Warden. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have fun with this strategy, and I'm going to be coming with a lot more of these to help you get the best out of the game. Thanks, and see you next time.